العلم أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدمه. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد, as you're aware, today inshallah we'll start a new science from the science of Islam, which is called al-Qawaa'id al-Fiqhiyyah. And we'll be studying Qawaa'id al-Fiqhiyyah from the manzuma of al-Imam al-Allama Shaykh Abdullah ibn Nasir al-Sa'di rahmatullahi alayhi rahmatan wasi'ah. And the Shaykh isn't new to us, because we already study there, or his book منهج السالكين والتوضيح في الفقه في الدين, أو في الفقه في الدين. Shaykh Abdullah al-Sa'di rahmatullahi alayhi is known for making al-ilm sahal, easy. Likewise, Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin rahimahullah ta'ala rahmatan wasi'ah. You will find that when they're explaining things, they bring it to you in such a manner that you're almost forced to understand it. And Qawaa'id al-Fiqhiyyah, as you can tell by the second terminology, al-Fiqhiyyah is related to usul al-fiqh, is related to fiqh. Fiqh has different sciences which are understood via these sciences. Yani fiqh being understood via various sciences. From them is usul al-fiqh, usul al-fiqh. From them is al-Qawaa'id al-Fiqhiyyah, which is this book that we have. From them is maqasid al-Shari'ah. Although maqasid al-Shari'ah can come under usul al-fiqh, and in the earlier generations the scholars used to keep maqasid al-Shari'ah as a mabhath, as a chapter in the books of usul al-fiqh. Then when you're also talking about fiqh, you have to know the tarikh of fiqh, the evolution of fiqh, how it came about, how fiqh was implemented during the time of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and how it was implemented during the time of the Sahaba ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim, and then the Tabi'een in the time of the Salaf, up until our era. The book, as we said, is al-Qawaa'id al-Fiqhiyyah. It contains 49 lines of poetry. It is recommended that students memorize these Qawaa'id, these lines of poetry. And hopefully we'll be studying it 3 times. In reality we should study it 10 times. Lakin we'll only study it 3 times inshallah. And the reason is because when you study a book first time round, naturally you will pick up a lot of things. You will learn a lot of things, a lot of different qawaa'id, principles, a lot of different masail. Lakin you will find that the next time you read it, you will also study and learn new masail, new issues which you did not learn first time around. And likewise on the third go. From the scholars that preceded us, you will find one shaykh reading a certain book, or just one book, 70 times. One book 70 times. You'll find another alim reading another book 500 times. You'll find another alim constantly reviewing what they have learnt. Learning new knowledge is important, lakin maintaining what you have learnt is more important, and it should always take precedence. Bi-idhnillah, when we finish Kitab al-Salah in Manhaj al-Salikin, we'll go back to Kitab al-Tahara for a one-day dawah before moving on to the kitab or the chapter that comes after Kitab al-Salah. The reason is because it is a reminder. And the worst thing that a student can do is put what he or she has learnt on the shelf, as if that stage of my life has passed, I'll move on to the next stage. La. With knowledge, you build upon what you have learnt. This specific manzuma, or this specific fiqh, al-Qawaa'id al-Fiqhiyyah that we'll be studying, is very beneficial for the Muslim. And it allows you to be your own mufti to a certain extent. It allows you to be your own mufti to a certain extent. And that is why people seek knowledge. That is why Sharia, in the Sharia, ilm has been praised. Because the abd, the servant, should be able to learn or should be able to worship Allah Jalla wa Ala accordingly. That's why when Imam Ahmad was asked what ilm is, or what you should intend with ilm, Imam Ahmad rahmatullahi alayhi said that you lift al-jahl ank an nafsik wa an ghayrik, that you remove ignorance from yourself and others. For example, one of the qawaa'id that we shall study is ad-darurat tubihu al-mahdhurat, that certain cases or emergencies or dire necessities make permissible that which was haram. طيب. Then we have another qa'idah which we shall study, ad-daruratu tuqaddaru biqadriha. The darura, the necessity, tuqaddaru biqadriha, it is to be implemented up to its extent, or up to the extent that the necessity is fulfilled. So when we have these two principles, if we try implementing them far away from the books and the library and so on, if you want to implement these two principles, you can. For example, if a woman goes to the hospital and there is مثلا a disease on her left leg, and that disease is spreading, so the disease is on the shin and the calf muscle, that area. طيب. And obviously it needs to be cured. The disease needs to be cured. There's no female, or there are no female doctors around. The only specialist that is present at this particular moment, and that shall be present in this particular hospital, is a male doctor. طيب. What should we say to her? Obviously she's in the hospital, she needs this cure, she isn't able to give the alim a call immediately. What should she do? She can say ad-daruratu tubihu al-mahdhurat. Extreme situations or dire necessities bring about or make permissible that which was previously haram. Sah? So what does that mean? By implementing this qa'idah, obviously we can't say to her, it's haram for a man to see your leg, therefore it's better if you die. Or tawakkal ala Allah. You can't say that. What are you going to say? ad-daruratu tubihu al-mahdhurat. So you allow her to lift her hijab, sah? To what extent though? Remember, the disease was on the shin, just underneath the knees, up to the shin. طيب. So now we've understood that it's permissible for her to allow this doctor to operate on her left leg, صح? طيب. Then we implement the other قاعدة. الضرورة تقدر بقدرها. The ضرورة is to be implemented according to its extent, according to the need. And what does that mean? It means that she lifts the garment up, or the hijab up until the place where the doctor needs to operate on. For example, just under the knee or on the knee. What do we understand from that? She isn't allowed to completely remove her lower garment to the extent that even her thighs are showing. So الضرورة تقدر بقدرها. So if a student of knowledge, a female student of knowledge understands this and comprehends it, she won't need to call a alim for every single thing. Likewise, every other issue in our day-to-day life. In our day-to-day lives. طيب. Hopefully on this first level we'll try to complete the manduma, lines of poetry, in 4 weeks. Today we'll have the introduction, possibly the first 10 lines, which are an introduction. طيب. So we'll have our own introduction, and then the introduction of Shaykh Sa'di rahmatullahi alayhi. And then if time permits, bi'idhnillah, we may study or start on the first principle. طيب. By the way, all of you that sat the exam has got his book, sah? And I assume likewise for the sisters. That is a small token of appreciation, a goodwill gesture. Because when a teacher writes out an exam, it's from the basic etiquettes to attend the exam. So if you attend the class, from the basic etiquettes is that you attend the class. And the reason why we do tests is so that the student is grounded in that which they are learning. There was a student from amongst the students, female sisters, that had 2 books, and the reason is because this student during class, they replied to all of the answers and they revised well, and they got 68 out of 60. Say Allahumma barik. طيب. al-Qawaa'id al-Fiqhiyyah. How many words? 2. طيب. usul al-fiqh. How many words? 2. طيب. Whenever you get a ilm that has 2 words to it, there's 2 ta'reefs for it. 2 ways of defining it. When you're talking about the definition, there's 2 ways of working out a definition. Firstly, you study each word or each mufrad as it is. So you study al-qawa'id on its own, and then you study al-fiqhiyyah on its own. Once you've understood the meaning of each word and each terminology, then you move on to the meaning of both of these as a whole. طيب. القواعد القواعد الفقهية. How many ways are we going to define them? Or define the word in? 2 ways. 3? طيب. 2. What are they? قواعد first, فقهية ثاني, and then together as a knowledge, as a ilm. Al-qawa'id, principles. جمع قاعدة. Qawaa'id is the principle, is the plural of قاعدة. قاعدة. طيب. وهي أساس الشيء. قاعدة is the asas, or the core part, or the fundamental of a thing. وأصله, and its foundation. طيب. طبعا لغة. طيب. In the Arabic language, قاعدة means the foundation or the fundamental. طيب. The istilahan, or the terminology of the scholars, we'll study it in the next course, inshallah. Al-fiqh. لغة, what does it mean? Linguistically, what does it mean? Al-fiqh, fahm. صح, we studied it in شروط الصلاة. طيب. لغة, in the Arabic language, it means what? Understanding. طيب. Istilahan. What is the difference between لغة and istilahan?
Is it how the people of that specific, like, what's it called? Science, they use it, how they use it, like how the
istilahan يعني.
how the people of fiqh use it.
طيب. And لغة, what does it mean?
General Arabs use it.
طيب. Sister, go on. What does it mean? Technically or terminology. نعم. طيب أحسنتم. لغة means what it means in the Arabic language. طيب لأن القرآن نزل was revealed in a language. In which language? In the Arabic language. طيب. So طبعا all of the words in Arabic have a meaning, or all of the words mentioned in the Quran or the Sunnah have a meaning in the Arabic language. طيب. Istilahan means the terminology that a set of scholars have agreed upon. The terminology that a certain group of scholars have agreed upon. For example, Sahih, when we're talking in the Arabic language, means it's correct, صح? If you say to me, if I ask a question and you reply back with the correct answer, I say Sahih, means correct, and you've given the correct answer. Sahih, lakin when you're talking about ilm al-hadith, to the scholars of hadith, Sahih is what? Completely different to the meaning of Sahih لغة. طيب. على كل حال, al-fiqh means al-fahm, understanding. طيب. لكن اصطلاحا, according to the fuqaha, fiqh means معرفة الأحكام, knowing the أحكام الشرعية, the rulings of the sharia, not the rulings that are known by your aql or by experience. لا. معرفة الأحكام, knowing the أحكام الشرعية, the أحكام which are شرعية, which are related to the sharia. العملية, the actions that we perform, the عملية, not the اعتقادية or the علمية, لكن عملية. مثلا حج, صلاة, zakah, and so on, fasting and so on. These are acts which are actions that a Muslim carries out. So what goes out when we say عملية? Belief. اعتقاد. So when we're talking about fiqh, according to the scholars of knowledge, we're not talking about اعتقاد. طيب. المكتسبة, that have been derived from المكتسبة, that have been derived from من أدلتها, from its adillah, from its evidences, Quran, Sunnah, Ijma', Qiyas, and so on. التفصيلية, that evidence which is in detail. For example, now we want to know what the evidence for proving that salah is wajib. What do we say from the Quran? وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ. That is a dalil from the Quran, specifically related to what topic? As-salah. We can't say zakah is wajib. What dalil? وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ. We can't say it's wajib to believe that Muslims are going to enter Jannah. Why? Because وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ. صح? So this dalil, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ, is a dalil which is tafsili. There's a dalil which is ijmali. Inshallah we'll study that in usul al-fiqh, and we'll study the difference between usul al-fiqh and Qawaa'id al-Fiqhiyyah at a later time. طيب. على كل حال, that is the meaning of Qawaa'id al-Fiqhiyyah when we're talking about each terminology on its own. Each terminology on its own has this meaning. قاعدة جمع و al-qawa'id جمع قاعدة. قاعدة means what in the Arabic language? The principle, أصل الشيء, the asas or the foundation of this thing. Al-fiqh means what in lughatan? So we're talking about the second part of the title. What does it mean? Al-fahm. Linguistically, istilahan. العملية المكتسبة من أدلتها التفصيلية. بس we've finished from that. We've now understood what each word means on its own. Secondly, باعتباره لقبا على علم. When we're talking about from another angle, we have to look at it from another angle now. And that angle is باعتباره لقبا, a laqab, or a word or terminology for a certain knowledge or a certain science from the sciences of Islam. طيب. حكم which one? Here, علم. Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Hajar used to have really bad خط. طيب. باعتبارك على من لقبا على علم. طيب. So when we're talking about al-Qawaa'id al-Fiqhiyyah, and this is our intent now, this is the reason why we're studying this book, it is حكم كلي ينطبق على معظم جزئياته. So when we're talking about al-Qaa'ida al-Fiqhiyyah, we're here على معظم جزئيات. طيب. So القاعدة الفقهية means حكم a ruling, حكم a ruling, كلي which is comprehensive. حكم كلي, a حكم, a ruling which is comprehensive. ينطبق, which is applicable or applies, a comprehensive ruling which applies على معظم, to the majority عفوا after كلي write فقهي. طبعا it's the most important part. حكم كلي فقهي. فقهي يعني related to fiqh, and not عقيدة, not مصطلح حديث, not usul al-fiqh and so on. حكم كلي, a comprehensive ruling, فقهي which is related to fiqh, ينطبق على, which is applicable to or applies to معظم جزئياته, the majority of its particles or the majority of its parts. طيب. طيب. Now let's study it. حكم is a ruling. طبعا a ruling حلال حرام. Not only حرام حلال, لكن when you affirm a specific thing for another thing or onto another thing, or where you negate it from it. كلي, which is comprehensive. Comprehensive means very general. It's not specific to one chapter. طيب. فقهي applies to fiqh and not علم الاعتقاد, not علم of belief وعقيدة. ينطبق على معظم, on the majority of its parts. For example, now, from the Qawaa'id al-Kubra, you mentioned, when you took it as research, can I rub the top part out? No. Okay. If you haven't understood this ta'rif or this definition, you'll understand it now. قواعد الفقهية الكبرى. Give me one of them. Any قاعدة فقهية كبرى. اليقين لا يزول بالشك. طيب. اليقين لا يزول بالشك. What does it mean?
Certainty is not removed by doubt.
طيب. Certainty is not removed by doubt. Meaning if you're certain of a certain thing or of a specific action, then if you have a doubt, it cannot be removed. Okay. What does Qawaa'id al-Kubra mean? Why are these 5 major principles? Why are they called the 5 major principles?
We're not looking at the tafsir, like the actual ruling.
صح, that's إجمالي, صح. لكن why did we say it's 5 major principles? قواعد الكبرى الخمس. From the sisters?
They can be applied to all of the above.
أحسنتي. Go on.
Because everything revolves around those factors.
or نعم, yeah, نعم. All of the أحكام or all of the قواعد الكبرى can be applied to any chapter or any field or any chapter from the books of al-fiqh. For example, الطهارة, الصلاة, البيع, النكاح, الطلاق. 1, 2, 3. How many chapters do we have here? 5. Each has its own book, صح? We say كتاب الطهارة, كتاب الصلاة, كتاب البيوع, كتاب النكاح, or كتاب الطلاق. طيب. Let's implement this قاعدة, which we said, this قاعدة is this part. حكم كلي فقهي. The first part of this definition is here. حكم, a ruling, which is kulli, which is very comprehensive, which is fiqhi, it relates to fiqh. طيب. That's the first part. ينطبق, which is applicable to all of its parts. This second part is here. All of these 6. طيب. Who can give me an example of اليقين لا يزول بالشك في الطهارة? طيب, what about it?
If you doubt that you lost your wudu, then like this is applicable yaqeen la yazulu bi-shakk. If you doubt, like you're not sure whether you lost your wudu or not, then you take it as if you have an usul or you.
طيب صح. Another example from كتاب الطهارة. طيب, you have a prayer mat at home. The asl is that is clean, صح? You have yaqeen that is clean. Like you have a doubt whether or not something najis or dirty has touched it, and you can't see the najasa. Would you say? Al-yaqeen la yazulu bishak. And what do you do? You pray on it, صح? طيب, as-salah. One sec from the sisters. As-salah, an example of salah.
I'm not sure whether you prayed 3 rakahs in Mustafa or like you have a certain doubt, but maybe you prayed 4 and not 3. Sorry.
نعم.
Maybe you added or you decreased in your salah, but you're not sure that you did pray the right amount of rakah.
Okay, so you have a doubt, and then what do you do? How can you implement this qa'idah?
You go with what you certainly.
Okay, so if you're certain of 3 and you're praying Isha, for example,
Then you pray the 4th.
then you pray the 4th one. طيب. And likewise, and so on. طيب. Kitab al-Salah. Another example. طيب. كتاب الحج.
You know you did like 3 tawaf.
3 tawafs. You're certain you done? You performed 3 tawafs. So the 3rd one that you're on, or the 4th one that you're on, you're not sure whether you've done 3 or 4. What do you do? You build upon 3. طيب, أحسنت. كتاب البيع. Dealings and transactions.
You're not sure if you sold something, but so you know, but originally you know that this thing was yours, and the money that person might have paid is his. So you essentially say that you have the product and they have the money.
That's a certainty. طيب, أحسنت. For example, you want to buy a car, and you go to this certain individual, Ali, who's selling the car, and all of a sudden you realize Ali is an old school friend. You're there to buy the car, but you don't know who the seller is. When you get there, it's Ali from school. You end up talking for about half an hour, 40 minutes. And the whole reason why you're there and he's there is for selling, for you buying the car and him selling his car. And then you haggle a price and so on. And then you go back onto school, old topic and so on. 2 hours later, you depart, exchange numbers, you completely forget about the car. Then he says, oh yeah, Ali, we were here to buy the car, like someone changes his mind. Someone changes his mind, says, no, I don't want to buy the car anymore. Or, I don't want to sell the car anymore. And then the other one complains and says, look, we've been sitting here for 2 hours, you wasted my time and so on, this, that. And then there's an argument that erupts between the two. How can we separate between these two individuals? Now implement the qa'idah best. Implement the principle. The car belongs to the person who owns it. That is what you're certain of. Look, there's always two things. There's something you're certain of, and there's something you have a doubt about. Right. What you're certain of is what? The car belongs to Ali. What you have a doubt about is, and obviously the money belongs to the other party. And what you have a doubt about is what? If you agreed on a price, and if you agreed on a contract, and that you're selling the vehicle to. There's a shak, there's a doubt there. Would you go back to? The asl, which is? اليقين. طيب. كتاب النكاح. كتاب النكاح. Now, if someone's not sure, for example, two people end up after a few years, and not knowing whether they've married or not. Or a certain man says to another student of knowledge, I give you my daughter. And then they agree on meher, and they agree, yani the father and the talib, they agree on certain things, and ala kulli hal. Lakin the nikah doesn't take place. When we want to implement this qa'idah, we say that these two people are not married. Why are they not married? The nikah didn't take place. They have a doubt that maybe it took place. Maybe my father done the nikah in the past. Lakin tab'an not informing her. Or maybe the nikah was done 2 weeks ago. Lakin neither party is sure. In that case, what do we say? Al-yaqeen la yazulu bil-shak. You go back to what you're certain of and you implement that. طيب, kitab al-talaq. طيب, examples, come on. Hold on, Abdullah, hold on. Examples, come on. Example of kitab al-talaq is probably the easiest example that you can think of. Two people have an argument and then I'm not sure if you perform. If you said talaq. If a person was angry in a certain situation and then they had an argument, they had a vow, and a lot of things were said. طبعا, things weren't good. The things that were said weren't good. Lakin, you as the mufti, the man comes to you and says, whilst I was arguing with my wife, she said a lot of things and I said a lot of things. Wallahi, I don't know if I divorced her or not. What would you say? Huh?
Go back to what you said.
You don't automatically say al-yaqeen la yazulu bil-shak. Nah. Because he might have yaqeen that he said, I divorce you.
Go back to what you said.
Nah. So you go back to what he is certain of. That's why when you're asked the question, you don't automatically say, la halal, la haram. Yajuz, la yajuz, la. You ask. You ask the person that's asking you a question certain things which have an effect on the hukum. So for example, this man that comes to you, that argues, that's telling you about this argument, you're not going to ask him what colour shirt was you wearing on the day of the argument. Why are you not going to ask him that? Irrelevant. It has no effect on the hukum. Like when you're asking him, how was you during the argument, before and after the argument, do you remember what you were saying, what you were doing during the argument, and so on. That's the sort of things that you have to, these are the sort of questions that you have to put forward. Ala kulli hal, for this individual that comes to you, give him the qa'idah of what? Al-yaqeen la yazulu bil-shak. طيب, that's the first muqaddimah.